and he said, hey, we want to cover some of the town's meetings. And so he wanted her to, so she went to call her last night. Yep. I don't know what time she went to bed. She stayed up and wrote her article last night before she came to bed.
I know, because we was there late.
Did they allow the public to give feedback at that meeting, or was it just an introduction like it was at the commission meeting?
No, they did more. They allowed us to pretty much, you know, they asked us questions and about what we would like to see, what was worse about our city, what was the best things about our city.
Canolis was bothered last night. He said that wasn't supposed to start till June.
Oh. Well, in June, it sounds like they're going to compact all this information, write up a plan, and then present it at the senior center with everybody, or somewhere. Oh. So that's what she's trying to discuss, said it was going to happen in June. But it's very confusing of these meetings, because a lot of the citizens are not aware. Like, there was a lot of people that weren't aware that that was happening last night in our city.
Well, you read it in the paper. A lot of people don't get the paper yet, and that's on. I get the paper every week, but I know meetings when they're going on. A lot of people don't know. They don't see no flyers and nothing out nowhere.
And that was one of the things I brought up at the BOE meeting, that they need to put flyers out in central areas in each city.
You did say that,
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I'm on the other side of it. People, we find a way to fill our time with things that are important to us.
Yeah, but young people are not going to read the newspaper, and they're not going to go to the website.
And they're not going to go to meetings either.
Right. Well,
I don't think a young person to go to a meeting like that.
No, I think some are interested, but as you said, it's up to the county or the city government to inform their residents of everything. And nowadays, you can't do it the old way.
All right, you've identified a problem. Now we need 3 solutions. That's my new kick I'm on. Somebody comes to me with a problem, I'm like, look, I got problems that come out both ears. So flyers are one way, okay? How else can we communicate? Because I agree with you, the circulation of the newspaper has got to be lower now than ever.
Right.
I mean, I read it online.
Now, the county does have a Facebook.
Yes.
Okay.
The chamber has done a pretty good job of pushing this. That's something that I've seen a lot on Facebook. I have seen a lot of communication with the Chamber of Commerce with that. I thought they have done a very good job. But I agree with you. I don't know. I don't know how to advertise in today's world.
Yeah.
Being a small business owner, it's exactly the same thing.
It's hard to reach the people you need to reach, because you just don't know what a lot of people don't have internet or something other like that. And people that really need it probably don't even know what a computer is. But
tell them they're giving out $100 bills right by that shows up.
Yeah,
That'll get around.
that's one.
That's my thing with it. I think there's some personal responsibility. I showed up last night at the BOC meeting, not because I'm getting paid. I care.
Right.
And I guess that's where I struggle a little bit. I wasn't home watching the Braves game. I wasn't working the garden, which I really needed to do, and that cost me extra time this morning to get out there and fiddle with it. So those are things that I kind of struggle with a little bit on how to be able to rally the troops, so to speak.
Oh, well, another thing, I think people don't realize that everything that happens here affects them, but until it affects them, really affects them, they're not going to be concerned. But when it affects them in their household, or they see the effect,
it's like chicken house.
We go down to the courtroom and have our meetings down there, right?
Yeah, that's the problem. As long as it don't affect, you immediately, people don't care. They got what they don't care.
Yeah. We've had it really good. We have been spoiled, blessed beyond measure.
And I think in our generation,
Oh, somebody's already got the nameplates ready and everything.
Oh, yeah, here you go.
Whoa, you get a gold star today. Thank you.
He's in for a raise.
That's what it is, isn't it?
No, this say,
You're getting brownie points.
I asked you enough dumb
We
questions.
even get you for a work session?
Woo.
That's what I was told, I think.
We
I
are
don't know.
privileged.
and
Tell me to go away, it's fine.
also in, well, like, when I was in
Here.
this kind of stuff was
Oh, yeah, I got the one right.
Okay, all right.
and
I think we're gonna have at least two people that I know
Now,
that's
they
gonna
don't
here tonight, just
Yeah.
want to come.
Okay, well,
so the kids in the government.
right. But it's still open to the public to see and watch.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Did I miss your name tag?
Oh, you did? No, I didn't bring mine this time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that by design?
Mhm.
I see how sly you are.
You see, don't you?
Mm.
All righty.
I apologize for the last meeting. I totally forgot.
Bless your heart.
We all, I wonder where you
I
at.
know. I said,
What?
canola
To forget
called me
about
this morning.
That's a good
And he said,
excuse.
where are you?
Yeah,
What do you mean?
Oh,
But I
gotcha.
totally forgot.
I live by
Hello,
my
fellas.
I know.
I don't put something on my calendar.
Electronic or paper?
No, we can go with it.
Where do you keep it?
Right beside
I
my
think
Oh,
Good to see you tonight.
Thank you, sir.
I got copies.
So
for,
we don't want
yeah.
Transition to an electronic calendar that we're sharing on our phone. I can't do it on pen and paper.
That's what my wife wants to do. We don't have to do the calendar when I got it. Get that and she keep up with it. It's me. Hey, brother, how you doing? All right. Good, good, good. Gentlemen, how y'all? Hold on. All right? Good. Hey, man, how you doing?
Good, sir, you all right?
Oh, well.
Handing out everything.
Thank you, thank you,
All that other things, on Mr. Parks, the information of the composting and site cleaning.
Oh.
I think our new board member, oh, there you are! How you doing, Jeff?
Good, how are you?
Doing good.
Where do I need to go?
You can just come around to the end there, that'll be just fine.
Okay.
Thank you, and, there we go, and I think Mr. Ruth's out of the country today.
Yeah, he is. Oh, yes, sir.
We'll leave it there, no.
Later, that could be moving. Congregation.
Group of folks here. I called Jeff, I said, where is he? He said, well, he'll be there.
Is that something that state regs already require? Oh, okay.
Swing back. Get yourself cleaned up first.
That's right.
Don't come in here stinking first,
So it's not required.
Oh,
You just want to go out and introduce yourself to everybody?
Okay.
Cynthia.
Nice to meet you.
You are?
Kim Craig?
Yeah, yeah.
200, 250.
Yeah.
Believe me,
Yeah.
Nice to meet you, sir.
It's also,
I live about halfway down Spratley Mill Road, right where people, right where people comes in.
we built this trees on down that road.
there's a few.
Yes, put you on the list.
Hence the
Are you
reason.
ready for,
Oh, well, that's interesting, because I thought maybe they'd want to.
and I'm Tracy, Jeff. I'm Tracy, by the way.
I remember you.
You see, we went to school together, didn't we? I thought so.
Oh, Lord.
I know it, the best
So we're gonna
generation
make a
there
site
is.
plan that can addition?
When I heard that name, I was like, I know that's the one I went to school with.
When you called, I thought somebody.
I know, right? No, don't do that.
Or vice versa.
I think to begin with, anything you're not comfortable with, to start with, you know, just.
I was,
Hang on,
I've already
you are.
wondered about it, I'm gonna kinda observe more than anything.
That's right, that's fine, it takes all, it takes all a while, and we learn,
Have the commissioners.
we learn every meeting.
They have not put him in yet, so he's
So you
just
can't vote.
visiting tonight. Mhm.
He's not good. But these are the parts that would be movable.
Might have had a legend up there, but all
Yeah.
this is dotted.
Oh, yeah, that's right, I see it
I
now.
think when it comes to the DOC.
Okay.
On the TV.
Good, okay, all right, very good.
William,
Yes, sir.
you should see me before you leave.
I'll do it.
Told me to do something for you, and I'm gonna do it.
You know, with.
Excellent.
And everything with the.
I'm prepared.
Bonus section.
Right. So,
Can't get on.
I don't care,
I wanna learn, I told you.
I don't care, I wanna learn. Me too, I'm always in the learning mode.
Okay.
I had a phone call today that, this had nothing to do with planning and zoning, but I had never had before. I got a cousin in nursing home, and normally I get her an absentee ballot, take it to her, get her filled out. They called me today and said, hey, we got applications for absentee ballots, and you come fill one out, so she can vote. They called me
From where?
from the nursing home. I had never had that happen before. Normally, I had to instigate the thing, you know. I guess they got them for everybody in the nursing home. And I said, well, she's originally from Madison County. She said, well, she'll buy from Madison. Right here.
yeah. That'd be funny. So,
I thought it was kind of odd.
But,
Mm-hmm.
Never done absentee.
and so I sent.
Yep.
gotcha, okay.
We'll do it this time.
Comes
Comes at the half of them. Short and personal.
Yeah, okay.
Let's see what a month.
So is that one that does the state preempt?
Well, you got early voting, which is a couple weeks, and then it's a week off, I think, and then you got.
Started on the second.
Yeah.
And voting gets.
Go 2 weeks.
Right.
Yeah, primary school.
Tricky question.
Where does the portion of the states?
Trust me.
Right.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to.
The two tables, are they back on?
Mm-hmm.
No, they're not.
They're not.
No, sir.
Animal operation.
Okay.
But we are gonna put the things that was requested last night into our agenda for our public hearing.
Okay.
And that would be the definition of pole barn,
You say that.
and, it would be the definition of a digital copy. We've got to put that on for next, for the public hearing.
I kinda understand that,
Mhm.
but I don't understand that, as attorney, I guess, how are we gonna hold public hearing for something that we haven't even discussed, we haven't even talked about it? How are we gonna hold it?
Right, yeah, that's
Because
true.
one of those pieces was for the commissioners only.
And that was
So is
the
that your education?
moratorium,
Oh, okay.
that was the moratorium, and I understand that.
Well.
And maybe for the
Because it seems, you know, a lot
amendment
of-
too, because I didn't realize you have to have two public hearings for the amendment. They didn't tell me that, like even on the last one.
Oh, this is even for.
Let me get that clear
So
for
what
what
you're
you're talking about.
The one for the pole barn,
Yes, I
is
am.
under permitting section of the
Yes.
ordinance.
Section 12,
Does that have to go through two public hearings?
yes, but I think they're, Christina was mentioning it might be the board commissioner.
Oh, okay.
But
I went to school and.
Mr. Pruitt said
So I came back.
So, but then your
Yes, sir.
sister said that she was gonna find out if it can't be.
Yes, sir.
But, regardless, Christopher asked me to put it on the agenda for the public hearing.
Yeah, there'll be changes to the zoning ordinance, right? How about two?
We have agendas up front if you guys want any.
Mhm.
Came up last night, and I asked the question, how we gonna hold a public hearing on back on her?
You come by the office early.
I've never heard, I don't know where it's at.
Yeah.
Last time?
Mhm.
We were discussing
That's what you discussed last night.
No,
The full one is
joining process.
Not these two.
Basically,
Whole
to the
one.
left-hand
Yeah.
side.
Yeah, they got taken.
I'd have to
Remember
look
how that
at
left?
Yeah,
it.
those are, so all text amendments come through planning and zoning.
Absolutely, I
So,
understand that. I'm sure that the beginning we did,
yeah.
but.
Maybe it's just me.
Okay.
I'm generating those.
So,
But since.
I'm feeling
since-
uncomfortable,
since
that's
I-
where you're going.
You there.
You got input, it's this late today, you've been at it all day long.
Oh, and let me tell you.
oh, yeah. Yeah, it would be on your business agenda too, that's what you're saying. Yeah.
I
it really
originally
makes
had it
sense.
planned,
Yeah.
you know, we were all having.
And you took it off. So I wanna make sure before,
We're back.
I wanna make sure tonight. We're
I
back on.
just, I almost swallowed my tongue.
Yes, didn't have enough, the advertising was too quick to get done.
With you?
Mhm.
Our phone, I don't know, I told
So I don't
one
need-
over this
so I don't
morning,
need-
and next thing I
Right.
knew, 5 was calling and asking about
Right.
it.
First meeting is you.
And it,
Because
you
we were
know,
talking about trying to get it in this morning, but it was only
I
gonna
didn't
be.
realize.
Exactly.
We should have been.
You gotta have
The meeting.
On a non-conforming lot.
Yeah, that's
I wanna
right.
make sure.
Yeah, I mean,
I didn't
proposals
let
could
the
come
trouble was,
from,
it was all.
proposals could come from
But
y'all,
yes,
but
sir.
it could
In
come
30-day
from-
increments.
Most often it should come from the fiscal history. It could come.
You know, my brain's
Right.
not all here.
If we got any kind of comment.
Right.
Or whatever, that we could
Yeah.
change.
Yeah.
Just to say, we got nothing to do with that.
You're not true
No,
though.
no,
Yes,
it all
is.
comes through y'all.
Yes, it
The only thing that doesn't is
I like
moratorium.
Understand.
Yeah, that's the only exception.
So I was
I
trucking
guess
right.
I would put, we started after.
At the break.
Should I put?
Yeah. Writing contest.
Yeah.
Okay, Tracy, so we on?
We are on.
I do apologize, we're a few minutes late for, our visitors this evening. Would you please stand with me for a word of prayer and we'll get started? Oh God, our Father, once again, that we're bowed in our presence, thanking Thee for health, strength, thanking Thee for allowing us to be here tonight. Father, we pray for everybody in this entire world. We pray for our United States. We pray for the people that we're all due around to pray for. Father, we ask you to come into this meeting, guide our minds, guide our decision making, that we may make Madison County a better place for all of us to live. And we'll be so careful to give you all the praise and glory. In Jesus Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Want you to welcome you to our business meeting. I am Canola Scott. I am the chair of the Madison County Planning and Zoning. And I will ask each member to please introduce themselves. We have a new member tonight. It's for District 3. This is his first meeting, so y'all forgive him if he's a little nervous. But he will introduce himself and we'll go around the room.
My name is Jeff Hendricks. I live on Stratland Mill Road, and I don't have a whole lot of other details about me for right now. So I'm just new and hope to do a good job with it.
You will. Cynthia?
Cynthia Fortson, P&Z Committee elect.
Kenneth Bradley, District 1.
Lee Mitchell, District 2.
William Smith, District 4.
Tracy Patrick, zoning administrator.
All right. Thank you all. Get into our, let's approve the minutes of our last two meetings. April 5th and April 19th. I think most of you got them in an email or in your packet, and I will entertain a motion to approve.
I move we approve the minutes.
Second.
Moved by Lee, second by Kenneth, to approve the minutes for April 5th, 2022, which is our business meeting, and our minutes of April 19th, 2022. Any questions or discussion? If not, we'll entertain a vote. We'll start with Cynthia.
Yes.
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 Yes. And the reason I didn't do our new member is he has not been officially entered by the board, so he can't vote tonight. All right. I guess his chair reports a little bit about our rezone request for last month. I brought them before the commission last night, and we'll just make it quite simple. Everything that we approved was approved by the commission as a unanimous vote. So that's all done. Evidently, we did a fair job because they accepted everything that we presented to them last night.
Even with the conditions.
Even with the conditions. Okay, Mr. Tracy, you want to start our business meeting tonight as to what we got coming for our public hearings?
Sure. So skip over the old business and go into.
Well, is there any old business?
Yes, sir, and
Okay.
that will be Mr. Park.
Okay, I'll consider that new again.
Yes, sir, I know,
Okay,
it's
all right.
been a minute. Mr. Park is represented by Attorney David Jordan, and he's requesting for his conditional use application for a dog kennel of at least 25 breeding dogs be reconsidered for approval. This application was remanded back to the Planning and Zoning Commission by the Board of Commissioners on January the 3rd, 2022. He was requesting we were needing to have clear guidelines and regulations for this dog kennel and the conditional use application being requested. Mr. Park was also advised to provide a more precise site plan. The property is located at 861 Hannah Creek Church Road on map 75, parcel 5 in District 4.
Okay. Mr. Parks is represented by Mr. Jordan. Mr. Jordan, this is actually a business meeting. Our public hearing will be
17th.
on the 17th, but so we can go ahead and get started. If you have any brief comments tonight, I'll be more than happy to listen to them.
No, sir, thank you for having us here. Just to clarify, it's at most 25 dogs. So right now he has 23, but at most 25 dogs is all he's looking at. Maximum 25.
Okay. Maximum 25
Breeding.
breeding dogs.
Yes.
Not counting puppies.
Not counting puppies. That's.
Okay, that's not counting.
Okay. That will be coming before us at a public hearing. So tonight, any of the board members have any discussion on this particular request. If you remember, this was reprimanded back to us. We denied the request and took it before the commissioners. The commissioners did not vote upon it. They sent it back to us and to the planning and zoning crew for some clarifications, and they needed more information from Mr. Park. So obviously that has happened, but so in order to get ready for our public hearing, is there any discussion from the board? That something is not clear in your mind or whatever?
I'd like to ask Christopher, we talked a little bit today, but as far as the clear guidelines that were asked for and either coming up with our own or adopting state guidelines that we're going by, that he would have to adhere to.
Yes, sir.
Can you?
For this request, by the GDA guidelines I sent out, we can definitely resend the links to, the GDA webpage that pertain to animal protection and to kennels and maintenance and their procedures to become a licensed facility as well with their requirements. There are areas, we're dealing with waste, water runoff, et cetera, that's situationally, valid in certain areas. And working with Mr. Parks and his attorney, we have found, a way to compost, the fecal material or the leavings, so we're not in danger of affecting the water as before with burying the manure or just land application. So that did get addressed through the proper channels. After we move forward from this conditional use, the county attorney, Mr. Pruitt, and myself will look at the features, I guess it'll take to adopt in and whether or not we're allowed to modify. Tell me if I'm saying it wrong.
You're saying, yeah.
I am saying it wrong.
No, you're saying it right, you're saying it right. Yeah, but for purposes of this one, if you wanted to make anything additional, you could do it as a condition of gaining the conditional use permit. But I think what Christopher's saying is, really the state regs take care of everything that we need to know.
We can pull from the state regs for what we want to use as conditions. And we already are enabled to enforce those state regs on the county level.
Yeah, well, so if he's already bound to follow, of course he is already bound to follow the regs anyway, so there's no point in us piling on by making them conditions here.
Yeah.
So.
Unless, I guess, location or
yeah,
quantity.
unless you wanted to like narrow in, like the condition, say the state regs allow any of 3 choices for handling manure, and you want to pick one, you could do something like that.
For a certain situation. It's still conditional use. We have guidelines through the Department of Agriculture at this point.
So since we don't know what the state regs are, we're having to rely on you to tell us, I guess, for voting purposes. Does he meet those or not?
Mm-hmm. But now, you can read them if you'd like to. It's lengthy. I'll let you know that one. But I'll resend those just as a link in case you do want to peruse them, by all means. But yes.
If you would, please do that.
Yes, sir.
In case we do want to familiarize ourselves, because I don't particularly like voting on something I don't know exactly what it is.
And I trust you. I remember you had trouble with the hyperlink too.
Yeah, I trust your judgment, but I still want to see for myself.
Yes, sir.
But I'm assuming most, if not all of that, will be things Mr. Park has to comply with as he bills out and runs the operation, not things that he has to have in place now.
And that's how we found it, was the state reaching out to see he was trying to become a licensed facility with the state, is how we found out about it. GDA reached out to me to make sure he was county compliant as well.
So you have found out everything that you or the planning and zoning office needs to know in order for us to address this request. Okay.
So, the state regulations, it require setbacks like you got drawn out on the.
That's where some county issues come involved, as well as location. That's where they leave it to the county's discretion. As far, the state is looking at the maintenance and the care of the facility. And then the facility also, once it becomes a state licensed facility, will then, be fit on their yearly inspection list, where they come around at least once a year to inspect the facility. And I think they may have started every 6 months now.
She called today, or he called today. I'm gonna call tomorrow and verify that.
Just mayor.
This is the Floyd.
Okay. I got it.
Floyd Morgan.
Okay.
Really? Morgan?
Can you just refresh my memory? Are conditional uses transferable? Does it stay with the land or does it go with the owner?
Stays with the land.
Stays with the land, okay.
Any other questions on this?
And I'm just going to point out to you, if I may, Mr. Chairman, I know we've talked in the past about that 14 14.2 something, that's your list of considerations for rezones. There's a separate list of considerations for conditional use permits, and it's in section 11.3. If you just wanna look at those and consider it.
11.3.
Yes, sir.
All right, sir. Any additional questions or on this particular one? If not, we will handle it on the public hearing.
Yes, sir.
Tracy?
Okay, item 2 is just the temporary sawmill, which is tabled.
Okay.
And then the third is the grandfather status definition, and it's tabled as well.
Okay.
All right, under the new business, we have discussion of public hearings for May 2022. The first one is Harold and Johnette Appleby, and they are requesting to rezone their 5.75 acre property from from RR to A2 to combine with 5 acres from adjoining A2 property, that's map 15, parcel 45A, to serve as a privacy buffer for a total of 10.75 acres. Property is located at 145 Stoy Smith Road on map 15, parcel 47 in District 1.
Thank you. Any discussion on this particular one?
I do. The 5 acres that he's wanting to combine, was that just recently purchased by him from Gail Coleman? Because on 2 Public, the entire parcel.
Yes, and in fact, what Ms. Appleby said, that he is an elderly man and he owns the property, and she's afraid that his children may, split up the property that he owns, and they're just wanting to get that 5 acre parcel there to have a little buffer.
So he does own the 5 acres?
He does.
Okay.
But, Ms. Appleby and are wanting to buy it upon this, this request passing.
Okay.
So this is kind of a reversal. This is our property that wants to go to A2.
Right, so that's on a positive note with what the county, right?
Well,
You know,
either way, it's a larger conforming A2
exactly.
property.
Yeah, it just
Yeah.
makes it
I know
logical.
it's the opposite of what we're used to hearing.
Right.
I'm not used to hearing this.
Yes, sir.
That's part of Mr. Old Ford Segray's property.
And I did check Miss Stacy, because I thought it was a typo when we said A2 and RR in the wrong
I
location.
know, right?
Okay. Any questions about this one? Any discussion? All right. Moving on.
Okay, the second one is Jerry and Amy McEachin, and they are requesting a conditional use permit for their 38.92 acre A2 property to allow them to build and operate an event hall for weddings, birthday parties, and other family-oriented events. Property is located at 0, and they do that because it's not been assigned 911 number, at 0 Highway 29 South on map 54, parcel 33 in District 2. And then I just noted the property address had not been assigned, but it's vacant property there, right at the bridge, almost in Emmonsville.
Going out of town.
Going out.
What does, and other family-oriented events mean?
Okay, Mr. McEachin has a goal of maybe being a small-scale Washington Farms. Like when it's pumpkin season, we'll have a pumpkin patch, hay rides. They're really generating around the family-oriented things with children in there and nice weddings and just a small turnout instead of a large one.
Okay.
So this is more than just an event hall. What I see here is
Using
there's
the whole
potentially
Mm-hmm.
a lot.
And I did speak with the city of Danielsville, Heather, and she said that they were in perfect agreement with this. She was supposed to get a letter to me, but she has not done so yet. but she said that she had no problems with that.
So this is close by, this is right by Danielsville?
Yes, sir.
Between, the edge of the city limits and the bridge that's under construction on
Mhm.
29, if you head towards Athens on your right, sir.
Okay, all right.
It's pretty much straight across from the old Dollar General.
Yeah, go on down a little bit. Yeah, you're right,
Comes
I'm
back
sorry.
up, yeah.
The
Yes,
old
sir,
Dollar
you're
General.
right, the old one.
The old one.
Yes,
That's right.
sir,
Okay.
absolutely.
I looked at A2 and where it discusses, I mean, it has event hall listed under A2 condition, I see that. But under 7.2.2.9, it says must meet Article 9, it must be separate as an accessory structure, and then so that's not what this is going to be, right? It won't be something separate from a main dwelling.
Main dwelling will come, at a later point in time. The family is looking at, for the event hall, having an apartment on the back for like a bride and groom that wanted to get married so that, bridal party, another party, the bridal party and the groom's party, he's gotta be there too. So they would have lodgings, for the night, and while they're building the farm, they're also looking at the possibility of a, variance to allow them to remain there, build the farm, and then build their house on the property. The goal, and we've had interviews with him, he's very forthcoming. He, had a letter of intent. I believe that's in your packet as well. They're trying to, they'd love to do both at the same time, but they're trying to do it without taking a loan out. So they're asking for our permission for an event hall, and if we choose, or for them to come here and be lifelong residents, they'll build their house and the event hall. They just kind of have the cart before the horse a little bit at this point in time. I don't know if we have any leeway with that with conditions.
Well, I'm just looking at what Mr. raised, and I don't know if that's an I mean, I see what you're saying. Is that an implied requirement that there has to be a main dwelling before there can be an event hall? Yeah, on those sorts of things, so there's, different principles of zoning, and some are in conflict. One is that, when it's challenged, the BOC is presumed to be correct, but when you're construing things like this, there's another principle that says you construe them in favor of the landowner. So if there's ambiguity like this, it's construed in favor of landowner. So I would say I wouldn't feel particularly strongly about going to court and saying that this is a requirement that you have to have a main dwelling before there's an event hall. I think
Don't get me wrong, I'm in favor of it. I think it's a good thing.
And they do, and they talked to us about the home they wish to build on it as well, 2,300 square feet, correct me if I'm wrong, with basement. And Dale, if y'all have been back over there, there's several hollers, I'm just trying not to sound too country, that go back down towards the floodplain. And so they'd like for you to pass their house on the way in, and it'd be a farm-style house, come over a ridge to where you don't have the highway, and it'd be in a location the other side of the ridge where it would also act as a sound buffer as well. And use ambiance, I might be, but he wants you to feel like you come over the little hole and then there's this little miniature farm for your event.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, I know, it sounds
It
nice.
really
You can
does.
come over to my house and do some planning if you want. But,
I just wondered if there'd been any precedence. The only other one that I could come up with is C&D Farms over there is basically a glorified pole barn. They have weddings, it's a wedding venue and things like that, but it has nothing on it except that building, so.
and they want to offer
Grand
hay
Hill's the
rides
same
and chances for children to come out and, have, external learning or SAEs if we want to go to, FFA, supervised agricultural experiences on their property. They want to embrace the education of youth in agriculture.
I personally don't understand why that's even in there to begin with, but,
But
who knows?
Another issue that we have came to, on the permit side where it comes in conflict with zoning every once in a while, we allow them to build a barn or structure, in preparation for building a house, but in the zoning, the structure has to be behind the house. And so some people build a barn or the gathering hall closer to the road and then tuck their house back in. This isn't the situation with this one, and that's intended also in this letter of intent that we may send to us as well.
So,
Well, I'm sure, excuse me, I'm sure if this is approved and that we can put in here some clarification
Yeah.
of what we're actually saying.
I
Okay,
just-
Cynthia?
I got a question.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
Would it be considered a business at that point?
I thought about that too.
I mean, it's just a way, if
It almost
they're
has to be.
advertised as a event
Yeah.
venue.
Yeah, that's,
Well,
that's a business.
agribusiness is permitted in A2, so that's not a
Right,
problem.
right.
But it would, yes,
Agricultural,
I guess the answer to that would be yes.
Agritourism.
Agritourism is, you know,
oh,
short of Christopher or Tracy showing me something I don't remember in here, I think, but A2 and A1 are the appropriate zones for those.
We went through and tried to, that's the reason for the letter of intent is because of this, chicken before the egg,
Yeah.
house before the barn,
Yeah.
situation.
yeah, piggybacking off Lee. Is this what they're saying, this is the structure they're looking at as barn?
Yes, for the gathering hall itself, the
Okay.
one that's in the packet.
Cause it says
Not
here
this
that
home.
the structure is smaller than the main dwelling.
Yes,
So their house is gonna be much bigger than this, is that what?
2,300 square feet is what they're looking to build,
Their main house.
their main house.
So
This
what,
is not, so much the keystone for what they want the experience to be outside.
oh, 'cause
In
I'm
and
a-
about, this is somewhere to get in out of the sun, teach a class, somewhere in the event of bad weather. They moved the arbor, they were gonna get married underneath the structure.
oh,
So it
'cause
would be
this looks like
outdoor
it's-
wedding.
Yeah,
then.
yeah.
Oh, I'm saying it just looks like it's more than 20, what's their house, 23?
That's his proposed plan. They're looking at the cost of building material at this time to what they can afford, and their primary focus is this building itself.
So this is open or? it's-
No, it'll be able to close in for inclement weather.
Does it have a drawing of the general store that they've got listed on there for the birthday parties and?
No, I believe he was, referring more to, setting up tables, things like that. They're currently in an inflatable business. They bring out like slides and the bouncy houses and stuff like that. And they want the structure itself to feel like a general store, and that has aesthetic appeal, not necessarily a general, store.
So it's more of an outside thing than it is an inside.
Mm-hmm. They're wanting to plant fruit trees and little garden patches, little stuff to where people can come with their family and see what farmers are doing without infringing the
Like
law.
Washington Park.
Okay.
Trespassing, not infringing.
All right, any other clarification that need to be clarified? All right. Tracy?
They'll also be putting in, the catch to this too, was, a dual commercial septic system for the dwelling itself. I mean, not the dwelling, but for the building itself. They were gonna build it regardless of whether or not we wanted to be an open venue or not. The big step that they're trying to take is the cost of putting in 2 septic systems right from the get-go. So if the board does decide to approve it, they're gonna build this thing from stage 1 for that max requirement.
Okay.
So they really are trying to work with it.
Okay, Ms. Tracy?
Okay. Our third one is, for Herschel and Mary Beth Dalton. They are requesting to rezone 2 of their properties. That's map 65-103, which is a ½ acre, and 65-108, which is 1.43 acres, from RR to A2 to combine with adjoining A2 properties. It's on map 65, parcel 104, and that's 1.41 acres, and map 65-106 with 3.71 acres, for a total of 4 parcels being combined into one tract with a total acreage of approximately 7.05 acres to sell. The properties are located at 2570 Highway 191 in District 4.
What in the world is happening? 2 in one night?
Yeah. This is a
2 in
doozy.
one night?
Yeah.
This is just absolutely bizarre.
How they get all those little parcels?
Well, I mean,
Yeah, this is,
actually, from my standpoint, they're doing the proper thing.
Yeah.
You know, we got all these little,
he was saying that it would be more appealing to sell it all in one big tract, and, you know, as far as getting loans on it, people, you know, get loans to purchase it. And there is an issue with the driveway. In your packets, there was a cover sheet for this one. I don't know if you guys have had time to process that. I'll be glad to read it and explain it if you would like.
well, if you would, just go ahead, that's what we're here for tonight, please.
Okay.
Please do.
All right, I'll start at the top. Mr. Dalton has purchased several small adjoining tracts over the years and has decided to combine them to sell into one tract. There is a small issue pending with one of the tracts, and that's parcel 108, and it's involved in this rezone. Mr. Dalton has a family member, Jeff Dalton, that he has used this easement off of this property as access to his driveway and residence for years. Now, Jeff would like to purchase, and it comes out, they had a surveyor out, it comes out to about 1/10 of an acre portion that the easement is on, and since Herschel's selling it, Jeff would just like to purchase that instead of being at the mercy of whoever buys it, even though he has prescriptive easement. But he would just purchase it, and, so upon approval of this rezone, if it's approved, parcel 108 will be rezoned from RR to A2, and Jeff's 6.09 acre property is rezoned, is zoned A1. Normally, this would require the .10 acre portion be rezoned from to A2 to A1. However, this course of action cannot be taken due to the parcel being under 25 acres, and that is in our ordinance. If you rezone it, you have to be 25 acres. So we're having to kind of flip-flop it around and take the A1 property and turn it into A2 due to him only having the 6.09 acres.
I'm guessing that's the driveway, the black dots right there.
Let's see. Yes, sir, and I think,
It's step one of like a three-phase process.
yes, sir, it is. It should be, in this portion of it, Jeff, should be, did you get a paper like this? Yes, and that highlighted is the, parcel.
Okay, I got it.
Mhm.
So we gotta rezone Jeff's property along with the other one too, at some time?
Well, we weren't able to do it because Jeff didn't make it into before the deadline ran out. So we had already had our deadline set, and he came in like 2 days afterwards to bring this up.
Mhm.
So it was gonna have to fall on June rezones, but due to the moratorium, we're gonna have to push that.
Whatever.
And it's kinda unfortunate because they're wanting to sell the land now. And in fact, I had to call Jeff and explain that to him today, and, you know, the best thing that we could come up with is when Herschel sells those lots, is just to have somewhere in the clause that, you know, upon the sale and this rezone, that Jeff will be able to buy that land. But you have to rezone to combine.
Yeah, that's private party stuff.
Yeah.
Technically, I mean, the first thing that comes to my mind as private real estate is they could give Jeff an option as part of that, but we don't have to be concerned with that.
Right.
As far as this rezone request, just part of it is,
It's irrelevant
what
to
are
this.
you worried about?
Mhm. But it did affect some of the acreage that was listed, and that's why I put approximately, because we started out with what those parcels combined would be, but we've just got to take that 1/10 of an acre out.
But even if he doesn't purchase it, he still got an easement.
Exactly, that's
Yeah.
correct,
He does.
that's correct.
All right, any other details on this one?
Tracy, as best I could tell, parcel 103 is
Mhm.
the only one of the four that has a dwelling on it. And I'm assuming that you get to it through, well, I can't really tell, I'm assuming an easement through one of those other parcels between there and Georgia Highway 191. How do you access 103?
Okay, let me,
Is
And
that
I
the
know,
one
that-
property?
and I guess with the sale, they're going to make all that, they would gain access off of Dalton Drive into that parcel anyway. So
right,
it may be a new point.
yes, yes.
So they would no longer need the easement to access that house
Yes, sir.
after all this is done.
Mhm.
So,
And if I could just note tonight, when you get there 2 weeks from now, this will be one of those that you want to condition on combining all four of those as a single parcel of record with the new survey, because otherwise you'd be creating non-conforming A2s. They're already non-conforming RRs, but you don't want to make them something else that's non-conforming.
yeah, they're not gonna, that's what I'm saying, how did he get how was all those little acres created in the first place? 'Cause that was-
Probably before 1994.
Yes, yes.
So,
Conrad Adams' store right there used to, well, it still does have a mobile home park of sorts right there, where he had rental property.
so my question is, if we combine all these and he sells them,
Mhm.
and someone comes back wanting to divide a different way, is that something?
You got to get it rezoned, wouldn't you?
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, but,
Cause the total acreage is only
yeah.
7.05, so he would only have to have it rezoned to do any splitting of that. So like RR.
Anything, yeah.
Yeah, you can only get two RRs in there.
Mhm.
Plus, you can't do it during the moratorium anyway, right?
Correct.
Correct.
So that's what I'm saying, so there's a length, there's a amount of time somebody can come back and re-divide that property.
Well, once this is approved and the moratorium's lifted, then they could.
Oh, okay, so there's not a length that can't be divided again within so many years.
No, ma'am, that's not anything.
Alright.
Well, that's right there.
Okay, moving on, number 4.
Okay, shift gears here.
Subdivision regs.
All right, this is for Steve Kimbrell. He is requesting a variance for his 17-acre A1 property to allow him to update his pre-existing farm. The variance is for the inability to meet his minimum setbacks for a proposed stack house that he would like to build. The property is located at the corner of 58 Fleeman Road, 0 Palmtown Road on map 91, parcel 59-01 in District 4.
So you cannot meet his setbacks.
Correct.
So if I may, Mr. Chairman, this is an application for a special exception variance under section 11.1, which just was recently revised.
And in combination with it.
Oh, in combination with the rezone?
See, there's an A1 pre-existing poultry farm, and then an A2, non-conforming A2 next to it. And so he has to erase the internal line and bring the A2 to A1 for the stack house. And then even after he erases the internal line by making it all A1, he's 70 feet. I can't remember.
Yes, sir.
70
70 feet on one corner.
70 feet from one corner,
Mhm.
making it.
Now, the application here is only for an area variance.
Mhm.
I mean, it's
Christian, were you
not for the
saying after
rezone of
this
the
is
R,
done?
the A2? Christopher, I
Oh,
don't,
okay, so
I
that
don't
would
see
be
it.
next.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
Yeah, that was, the rezone will be down the road after
Okay.
this.
Sorry.
I didn't see the A2 requested. The rezone from A2 to A1.
No, sir, no, he was saying that would be down the road
Phase
after.
two.
Phase
There before
two.
he goes through the rezone to fit the poultry house on, he wants to make sure we're fine, not poultry house. But the stack house, before he goes through the rezone, he wants to make sure we're okay with him putting the stack house there.
So what's the zoning of this property now?
It's A1, A2, but the stack house will go across the property line of the A1, A2.
Because it's a single property with two different zonings?
There's two different parcels.
Oh, yes, two different
But
parcels,
before
okay.
he rezones the or applies for the A2, he wants to make sure.
I don't think he can do that. I mean, that's really putting a horse
Yeah, so
before
you're
the
doing a
cart.
variance for a stack house, which is not permitted in an A2, is it?
No.
This is
No,
A1.
The A1
This
is
is
where the
A1
stack house
property.
is going, but a corner of it's going across the A2.
Corner.
Okay.
Didn't we have something like this?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So if he wants
Remember
to
that
do
guy
his
that
stack
wanted,
house
he
right
didn't
here.
need his,
Uh-huh.
setback.
This was for a chicken house, for a house, for a chicken house.
Okay.
This one's
Farm
kind
down
of
road.
hard to
That
explain.
was
It's
for,
Yeah.
something that they house where the chicken lays.
But that was, something similar to that. But I don't see how you
But
can.
his stack house will actually partially be in a separate lot, it's an A2.
But he'll rezone it.
And look how close it is to the road.
But shouldn't we do that first?
Now, I don't like that,
Yeah.
these chicken houses themselves, and
Christopher,
Sorry.
please, sir, if you could please explain whatever you explained to him to us.
No, that's covering the legal aspect of it. The gentleman owns both parcels. The only location on his property, because it was a chicken house that predates zoning.
Right.
So it's, I think it's 17-something acre.
Yes, sir, 17 even.
So really, 17 acre.
Mhm.
A1 property with a pre-existing poultry house on it. He wants to update his mortality, the way that he handles dead chickens. Instead of putting them in pits, he wants to do compost in the stack house. But the only way that he can, because of the way the property lies, is to build the stack house with a corner of it going off onto another piece of property he owns, but isn't zoned appropriately. So before he goes trying to rezone that parcel, he wants to make sure we're okay with him putting the chicken house on it. So I told him I wasn't sure which one we needed to go by first, but he had several different steps he was gonna have to go through. And he wasn't comfortable with rezoning the one parcel before knowing he could build. Does that make sense?
Well, the problem from the legal aspect is that, so the setback is 300 feet from a common property line. He's actually wanting to build it over the property line. So his application presumes that that line is gone, but it's not. It's still there. That's the problem we have.
I would say he would have to do the rezone first.
Yeah. Or he could have filed it all together, and that way it either, you know, he has the option to say, okay, it either all passes together or all fails together.
And that's where I thought we were doing, so.
Yeah. But right now, it looks to me like his application is, again, it's presuming a combination of parcels that has not yet occurred.
He, brought up the variance for the Transco chicken house. Do you remember that one? Where they did the variance for the setback coming off the Transco Road with the proposed chicken house being.
I remember that one very well. But it did not cross two different.
They were both zoned A1.
Yeah,
Four.
it crossed four, yeah.
It
that's
crossed
what I'm
four
saying.
property lines.
Yes, I remember.
They were all internal, owned by the same person, and that's where he was
And they
coming
were all
from,
A1.
except for one. And we did a rezone months before.
But the rezone was done first.
Yeah.
This
For
is,
one corner.
but this is different. He wants to build something and then rezone.
He doesn't wanna build until the other's rezoned. He wants to make sure before he spends more money that we're okay with him building.
Why would he have, what's the spending more money, just the application for the rezone?
And I guess having the line retraced or plat redrawn.
Well, we can do that, we've already done two of those
Yeah.
tonight. So, he can get it,
I can't advise all day long, but I can't tell him how to spend his money.
Yeah.
That's where I did that. We can advise all day long in the office, and we still, have to present it as the citizen wishes to present his application.
Well, what stood out to me from the very beginning was the setbacks. I mean, even the chicken houses don't meet the setbacks, and I looked on Key Public, and I know it's Key Public, but one, it says one was built in 98 and one was in 2009.
They went back into the same footprint of the pre-existing.
Okay. But they don't meet the setbacks, and certainly the stack house doesn't meet 300 feet from the property line, so, I mean, not even
From the
close.
internal, there's only one who wouldn't do it, and it's 100 foot for poultry, for, stack houses.
No.
Well, I'm not trying to prejudge
No.
what we're going to decide, whether we're gonna permit or approve or disapprove of what he's doing.
Yeah.
But I don't even see where we can take it up, because he's asking for the wrong thing.
Yeah, the wrong order.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you wanted to grant it, it would be conditioned in it, not only on combination of parcels, which that's easy, we've already done two of those tonight, but also conditioning it on rezoning of the neighboring parcel, which itself is a legislative action, and none of us can predict if that would happen or not.
That's right.
So it's,
He's thrown himself at the mercy of the board, if that's the way I can describe it.
I'm all for helping folks as much as we can, but we still gotta follow the rules
Oh, yeah.
at some point. We can't just go outside of the rules and just, because whoever it is.
actually, he probably saved himself money, I think in the past when we've done this. We've allowed people to file an application in this case, for rezone of that A2 to A1 with a request for an area variance, and probably just charged him one application fee. Right, Tracy?
Correct.
And that would have solved all his problems.
So the chicken house that was in 2009,
When they went back in.
they went back to the old,
Footprint.
You can build in the exact same footprint.
oh,
If it's not
Within a
conforming.
year.
Yeah, if it's
Oh,
already there.
okay.
So, there were two poultry houses
That used to
from when
be
I
there.
have no idea. And I don't know, an integrator could have made him update, or could have caught fire,
Yeah, okay.
or stiff wind, or they magically disappeared. But either way, within 1 year, he built back the same
So
footprint.
that in our Godfather?
So that's okay. That's okay.
Grandfather
There's
clock?
nothing wrong.
Correct, exactly right. That's in our non-conforming structure
Yeah,
section.
grandfather clock.
There's nothing wrong with that. So I'd like to hear from the other board members as far as this application, can we actually take it up, or, I mean, how do we need to handle this? Now, I've already given my opinion, that he's asking for the wrong thing, the wrong order.
I think it should be zoned first, before we make that decision
You already
on
fixed that fish.
the conditional use,
Go back
setback.
and, fill out the reason application too. And include it in the-
I don't know how we rezone it, because if we try to rezone that to A1, you have to have 25 acres to do it. You don't
Okay,
have
we
25
can't do that
acres to
either.
do it.
You're right.
Catch the guy and take it.
You're right.
17 and 1 point whatever, didn't get to 25 acres.
No,
So how many would that be rezoned? One of them 17 acres, how much is one he's wanting setback on? How many acres?
It's just a corner, it's not a whole lot.
Right.
There's no point in doing this at all.
About 1 1/4.
So that don't prove what, about 18 acres?
Yeah, we have 25.
And you couldn't rezone it to A1 without it being 25 acres.
That's what Christopher was just filling me in on.
And
We
then
have
the,
advised such,
Yeah.
but that's the reason before he went with the rezone, he wanted to make sure that we approve.
So there's really no way for him to do this.
Does he have a residence on here too?
Hmm.
Does he have a house sitting on here with?
No, not on that property. I thought you were asking if there was
Oh.
a residence. The original
He
poultry
didn't
farm owner
Yeah.
has a residence just south of your paper where the poultry houses are.
Mr. Kimbrell lives in Gainesville.
Okay. Well, from a standpoint of the planning and zoning office, or you guys that do this every day, I think that, I would suggest that somebody give Mr. Kimball a call and go back over this and explain it to him or whatever. And, I can't say about the money or what they paid and all that kind of stuff. That'd be up to y'all, but
He,
But from a P and Z board, we can't even accept this as a request.
Well, and if he wants it to go through, I think Christopher's tried this already, so if he declines to withdraw it, I think it still comes to you, you hold the public hearing, and barring hearing some revelation that we don't know now, it sounds like it's probably gonna be a recommendation to deny, but if he wants to spend his time and money that way, that's his right.
Sounds good.
he originally brought this before I was in this position, when I was still just code enforcement. He brought it in when Miss Linda Fortson was our zoning administrator then. And we had a conversation with him because he was looking at applying for grants and everything to help fund it. We informed him then, because code enforcement does all the setbacks for agriculture in the county and all stormwater, that this was very strong likelihood of not going through. When he came back in, we told him we would work with him as best we could with the setbacks, and there's renter property, I think, that we talked about across the road. Is that right?
I believe so.
So, man, money, his time, say, okay.
Yeah, I mean, there is
Tracy's
no,
mom said that.
there is no
That's our
variance.
go-to.
Minimum lot size is not something you can vary, so don't see a way around this for him.
And if that's not enough, I was surprised to find that 7116, under permitted uses, under A1, says stack houses, are permitted 300 feet from property line.
And 400 feet from the nearest
Correct.
residence,
Just like
that's
a
not your
residence.
own, and that's
Just
repeated
like
in
what we
7113 as well, so, yeah.
Yep.
Water source, that's where my 100-foot came from.
Oh, okay.
The, poultry manure and mortality can't be within 100 foot of a water source.
Okay.
He knows rules that we don't.
All right.
Well,
Well, okay.
Stormwater coming in.
It sounds like we'll have a discussion with him. If he still wants to come in, he will come to the public hearing, and we will entertain it, and then make a decision from here.
Yeah, we can call him, or I'll call him.
Okay? Moving on, number 5.
All right, number 5. This is for John Michael Barton, and he is requesting to rezone a portion, which is 2.01 acres, of his 14.49 acre property from A2 to RR to gift his uncle, Paul Waddell, exactly the 2.01 acres that his uncle has lived on for 45 years. The property is located at 7709 Nowhere Road on map 16, parcel 103-01 in District 1.
45
Now,
years.
There's a little bit of a backstory on this one. Get my notes here. All right, this has been like a family land, and Mr. Barton has owned it, and he is, and like I say, Mr. Waddell has lived on this land for 45 years, I was told. And the gentleman is wanting to just gift him exactly that amount. I tried to go for the 5 acre to keep everything's peace, but he only wanted to do the 2.01, and he is wanting to split up or give his children the rest of that as their inheritance when he passes on. He is having trouble. Now this is Mr. Waddell. He is having trouble with his neighbor, Sam Sarton, and this is Paul's deceased sister's husband that lives on the adjoining property, and he's been giving him trouble regarding using a shared driveway that he's used for years, and now he has been told that he has to pay $100 a month to do that. So Mr. Paul is wanting to cut a new driveway off of the road and get out of that situation. It's kind of like a bad blood family situation that they're trying to rectify.
This new driveway now, it's gonna be in that 2.01 acres?
Mm-hmm.
Direct access onto Nowhere Road.
Yes, sir.
But that still cuts into the acreage.
Well, with it being right there on the road, you know.
Thank you too much coming off the road there.
Yes.
Because it's, thank you, I thought that trailer house that's back off the road.
That's the county road,
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
it's county road, okay.
It's his own driveway, it's part of his acreage, that's not a problem.
And Mr. Barton does not live on the property, so right now, Mr. Waddell's the only one on that track.
$100 a month.
Yes.
No wonder.
For a driveway he's used for 30 years, so.
And if you-
That's the thing about using
Hatfield is recorded.
it, not even going to your house.
Any other questions on this particular
This
one?
property.
Yes. Tracy, you have any comments from staff?
I do not, there's none.
Christopher, any comments from staff?
No, thank you.
Mr. Attorney, you have any
No, sir.
words of wisdom for us?
No, sir, I mean, that one looks pretty straightforward to me.
Okay. Any other business before this board tonight? Not, then get a motion to adjourn.
I second.
We move properly second that we adjourn. All in favor? Aye. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.
Actually, this was very difficult to me.
Thank you, Tracy, great job.
You're very welcome.
I think this helps me more than the public hearing meeting.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Story of my life.
Yeah.
Very good. Remember that long meeting last night? I'm so excited. Oh, we need to, oh, he's doing it.
What is this? Oh, this is
He can kill the mic.
You're on the job, aren't you?
You know, any way we can help her out, she's good to me. Okay? Figure this out as we go on.
As you see, young man, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Like you think it's gonna be a nice smooth meeting, and then there's always like,
Oh,
No,
absolutely.
this is a smooth thing. It don't work that way.
If you come in.
I come into work thinking I'm gonna get to take a lunch
Or,
break and
let me
no.
back up, you know,
doesn't work
in
that
the back of the building tonight, when you come in, well, I'm sorry, we're actually on the hallway, I'm sorry.
And now-
You just keep going up this hallway and it's on the right.
Especially the ones where they hear the hearings on
Baxter,
video.
you'll fill out a form and say that you want the
I've been
contract
very-
I didn't know if it'd help out, I just.
No, it
helped. Interesting questions
Biggest
on
thing I
that
know, I'm gonna
one
do is give her
section
one
there,
of
Yeah.
I thought it might come in handy.
Oh, yes, you get it.
I have it on my, I've got a whole list of suggestions.
Well, I started.
First thing I do,
and I was like,
not only easy, but DSA, of course,
I need to
getting
sit
down my
down
neck,
and
but,
hear it go on
and
for a
staff
little
as
while,
well,
try to get-
and anything that's common across what everybody sends me,
Yes, sir.
that's like a yes. You know, I'm gonna put that on, and then the rest I have to
Extra book and all
evaluate.
paper.
Mike.
Yes,
What we
I
can
will, I
legally
need to
do
do
under
the
ours,
zoning ordinance, yes, thank you
Because
for
we
reminding
can't
me
do
that, I'll
anything
make me a note.
that goes against the
Give me the
county.
nameplate.
She'll try to get you all you need in the next.
I changed one word, and it's, 2 months.
I'm back and forth through here every single day on the way.
Yeah, I seen it, looked at Clark County,
Oh, did
they
she?
looked at Colorado has some,
Yeah.
Colorado too.
Read it on,
Basically, all of them
No,
had the same question. They answered.
no, then let's see.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
And, with our new system that'll be going online
She did it for the.
this month, it will also allow me to resource any
Oh,
other county
okay.
or municipality that uses them as well to see what they've got going on.
May wanna hang on
That'd
to
be
them
nice
until
database.
Or go